This is absolutely Essendon. I know you're wondering what the heck have these turkeys got to talk about this time of the year. We've got something, and it's very important too, and I think you'll find it quite enjoyable. So stick around, because we're going to have a look at this Bomber team and see what we're dealing with now at the end of the trade period. Has it ended now?
Yeah.
Have I got that right?
It has.
Okay, good. And we're coming up to the draft period.
All great things must come to an end, and it was great. It was great. I think, as everyone knows, we're now 10 years in a row we've won Trade Week, and
success.
It is a dynasty. It is a dynasty that can never be touched. The great Adrian Dodoro, he floats on air. He really does, and he's pulled out a miracle this time. We have
a miracle.
I think so. I think in terms of bringing in 4 new players.
Are you talking Messiah level miracle, or
not quite
water
that.
into wine?
No, not quite that. I think his masterpiece is yet to come.
Right.
And from the sounds of it, it will probably happen because he's going to stay around for a bit longer. But no, we brought in 4 players, quality players that really helped fill a need in terms of Mackay, Gresham, Goldie.
Yep.
The smiling assassin.
Yes.
And he could become our new cult hero, actually. Talking about the merchandise.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, we're not allowed to talk about that.
No, we're not.
The smiling, you can have him, the smiling ruckman, the creepy smiling ruckman. Goldie,
the grinning
ruckman. And then, of course, with 2.5 seconds to go on trade day on the
down
deadline,
to the buzzer, was it?
Xavier Dersma, come on down. So 4 players in for the loss of the 34th worst rated defender in the competition in Brandon Zirk-Thatcher. You're dead to us, by the way, Brandon.
Yes.
Enjoy life in Adelaide.
Let him go home.
Don't go near Snowtown if I was you.
Let him go home. But by the way, in the end, was it a straight swap? Or, because there was talk
as
that
opposed to a gay swap.
They wanted some. I'm not even going to.
No, I wouldn't recommend you touch that one. Oh, there's a little desk over there.
Right.
I didn't notice that. Was it a straight swap? No, it wasn't. In the end, Port Adelaide were begging for a second round draft pick to go with Dersma.
Right.
Dodoro looked them down across the table and said, "No way, Jose."
Right.
And in the end, I think we coughed up a couple of future 4th round draft picks as well as BZT. So, good luck spending those 4th round draft picks.
So let me get this straight. At the moment, the Dons have the following draft picks. I think if I'm right. 8, 27, 46, 67, 82.
Nothing like that.
Right.
Yeah, good luck. I think there's a couple of 30s in that lot.
I don't think so.
There is a couple of 30s in that lot.
I'm not so sure.
Well, I'll tell you what.
You might want to...
when we go back down for lunch after this...
I just made those figures up.
I'll show you.
All right, okay.
So he has no idea.
Right. But when you talk about second round pick, would that be the number 27?
No. We've got, I think, 31, 35. So we've got 9... Oh, come on, look, I'll put them up on the screen, all right? We're really killing ourselves here.
All right.
So anyway, with the trade period's over, we've done very well. A lot of good players have come in for the loss of a couple of type players.
Right.
Massimo D'Ambrosio will no longer be wearing the red and black. He will be wearing the
poo
and piss.
Yeah.
Of the Hawthorn, that beautiful colour combination
Poor
that they have.
bastard.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to look good in it.
No.
Not with that little sort of Pancho Villa moustache that he's got.
With the Mediterranean complexion.
No.
I don't think
Barinda Puopolo
never looked right.
He looked out of place in that jumper, didn't he?
Boy, he kicked some goals, though.
Yeah, he did. It looked good on Dermot Brereton. I think it suits
it's
more
sort
the
of
Celtic.
your Crawford, your Sicily.
Blondie sort of guys.
Even
Blue
though
eyes.
Sicily's not Italian, but he's got the,
Is he not Italian?
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
But he's got a name Sicily.
Yeah. Go figure.
Okay. I suppose that's like that guy who played for North Melbourne, German. Remember him? Paul German?
Yeah.
He wasn't German.
Peter German,
correct.
Good friends of Paul.
And friends of ours whose names are Holland.
Yes.
Never been near it,
Dutchy?
have they?
No, that's right. Anyway.
The quirks of naming. Football. Shall we talk about football?
Yes. Okay. So how do you think we?
This is frenetic today.
How do we? Caffeine is a killer. How do you want to go through it?
All right. So we don't even know what we're going to go through yet. So how about if we explain that?
Right.
And then we can go through it.
All right.
So what we're going to do today is something a little interesting because it actually involves us sharing our knowledge of football, and as you all know, it's not particularly good. But we're going to look at Essendon's depth charts.
Please stay with us.
Yeah, good luck. Essendon's depth charts. Now, for those that don't understand what a depth chart is, it's basically looking at the squad by key positions and having a crack at who's the primary players for those positions, who are the secondary players, if there's injuries or something, and then who's the depth player, if all things fail, this guy will come in to fill a hole. So the depth player, thus the name, the depth chart. And so,
wow, you make it sound very technical.
Well, I want us to be a little more like everything Essendon.
Yeah, I know.
Felix is just...
He's given us a benchmark.
He really has thrown the challenge out to us. So anyway, here we go. So we're going to start going through it sort of by position or by area on the field. And to get the ball rolling...
This is going to be very interesting.
It is.
Because you could argue that Essendon really has been quite shallow over the last 20 years. It's been kiddie pool-esque in terms of depth, right? So
absolutely nailed
we want to see Atlantic Ocean levels.
Yeah.
If we're going to get anywhere near a premiership, would I be right?
Well, I think it makes... If you look at the clubs that do win premierships, they cover injuries, they cover losses in form because they have the depth. They may not necessarily have superstars on every line, but they've got players that can come in and do a job.
Whereas we had maybe extra injuries.
We're exposed. And I think Bradley alluded to that towards the end of the season and in fact said it in not necessarily these words, but the injuries had exposed our depth towards the end of the year, and the end of the year was not great. So, look, without further ado, because this could take a little while.
It's been quite the build-up.
It has. So I want to start with tall defenders. So we'll work from the back line through to the forward line, and our first cab off the rank is tall defenders.
Right.
So you've got some notes there in front of you.
Yes, I have.
Joe, so who would qualify as our primary tall defenders?
Well, does Mackay go straight in? I would have thought he does.
It's written down. So
given how much we've paid, if he doesn't go straight in, then we've been bent over.
Yeah, so look, I think so. And, because there's a lot of names, we probably just want to fly through this.
Okay, Ridley, who just turned 25?
I don't know.
25, I think he did. Happy birthday. King Jordan of Ridley and Laverde.
So our primary tall defenders, just to summarise, Mackay, Ridley and Laverde. No problem.
Right. Secondary.
This
defenders. Is interesting.
So there's the guys that would come in the event of injuries or, similar things, loss of form, whatever it may be.
Right.
Suspension.
To fill the boots, who are they? Rip through them.
So I think in terms of tall defenders, on the secondary list of our depth chart is Zach Reed, Lewis Hayes. Now, Lewis is relatively untried, but very promising
Not a
tall
household
defender.
Name yet.
And Nick Cox, who spent a little bit of the season, in the last season, playing out of the back line. Of course, Nick Cox is over 200 centimetres, so he is technically a tall defender, but he can play in a range of positions. He's a mobile tall, so he's not exclusively in that position, I would have thought.
Was it the last game or last one or two games? Brad Scott moved him down there to help support in defence.
Correct.
If I got that right.
Yep.
Okay, and the depth player then.
So and then just looking at if all else fails, this guy gets a game, and of course, who have we got in that? Oh, geez,
Wiedemann.
Sam Wiedemann.
Right.
Okay, right. Moving right along. So let's look at the medium small defenders.
Right.
Who would be the primary choices in that role?
Okay. Well, we've got Redmond and McGrath.
Yep. Okay.
Don't know if Redmond's that small, but
he would take a small to medium player.
Sure.
He wouldn't take on Tom Ross, for example.
Okay. So I would say, we're fairly happy there. I know that people have got some question marks over McGrath, but I'd say we're fairly happy at that level. Secondary, Heppel and Kelly.
Yeah, now this is where we do have a bit of a problem with our depth, because if either of Redmond and McGrath go down, we're going to rely on guys like Dyson, who, let's be honest, isn't getting any younger, and Jake Kelly, who hasn't really set the world on fire. So, and I don't think we've got anything behind that in terms of depth.
Well, it's blank here. So I think
Massimo might have been that player.
Yes.
He was playing off the half-back flank when he did play, and taking on that smaller defender role. So I think we're a little bit light on in that mid to small defensive roles, and I'm not sure who in the club, in the squad that we currently have, could fill that that role in the event that we had some injuries?
I don't have an answer to that.
No.
But I think it's a good question.
So that's why we're doing this depth analysis.
Right. Okay. I can see the
You see where it's going?
Yeah. I really didn't know what you were talking about really, but now I get it. Okay, let's talk about inside mids.
Inside, that's kind of the ball getting,
yes,
under the pack type player.
Down and dirty, good below the knees.
So who do you think would be...
I think we've got, I think it's Setterfield,
yeah,
Parrish, Caldwell,
yep,
Hobbs.
Setterfield, Parrish, Caldwell, Hobbs is our primary inside mids. Yeah, look, I think that's a fair call. Okay,
I'm going to ask you something in a moment, but we'll come back to that. Secondary, we've got Stringer and Perkins.
Okay, well, that's interesting. But Stringer, I guess, is that inside mid kind of bullet-a-gate type player.
He does get thrown in there sometimes.
He does. It's just that it's not his regular position, is it? But I guess as a secondary option for in there, he probably makes sense. Perkins is the interesting one because I think we really need to see Archie step up into... Yeah. I don't think anyone knows what his best position is at the moment.
Yeah.
And I think this is probably the case for him. He had a great game in the last season taking on Patrick Cripps as a kind of run-with player in the Carlton game.
Yeah.
So maybe there is that sort of mid-role for Archie.
Both of them are sort of both ends of the spectrum, I think, because Stringer, there was a time where you'd move him into the centre, mix things up a little. That didn't work so well this year, I think we could say.
I think he's just got to get his fitness up.
Probably
when
was
he's
an
fit,
injury
he's
issue.
fine.
Yeah.
But, when he's not fit, and which is sadly more often than not, he just doesn't seem to be able to pull it off.
Yeah, and so I agree with what you said about Perkins. And then when you come to our depth, save-the-day player,
we don't have anything. I mean, look, you can always turn someone into that role, but there's not an obvious candidate coming through the VFL side.
Yeah.
In terms of depth for that inside mid, that ball-getting clearance type player. So... there's a few there to work with, and I think we've got some very good players in terms of the primary options. But long term, there's a hole there.
So in draft season, are these the bits they're looking to fill in?
I think so. Yeah, I mean that would definitely be the cases that would be looking at. The guy, Tom Green, who plays for GWS. Who's the next Tom Green for us?
Yeah.
Now it could be Hobbs, it could be Caldwell, but I suspect that's a player that we need to still find in the future. So anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
So what about outside?
So we've got Merritt, Sartis.
Yeah.
Martin.
Yep.
And Dersma. Dersma's is in the list. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
all right, straight in.
Oh, well, of course he's straight in. He's a pretty decent footballer.
Yeah.
He's probably more likely to play on a wing.
Yes.
So it's an outside running role, midfield role.
Right.
I think our wings next year, there's a bit of debate about this. Will Durham hold his place in the side? And a lot of people have already shown in some of these charts and best 23s that I've already seen.
Yeah, what are they saying?
They've got him out of the team.
Oh, really?
He was a top 10 finish in our Crichton Medal Awards this year.
Yeah, I always thought he was pretty reliable.
And he's a young guy who's getting better every year. So, I don't know. I think the wings, in my opinion, would be Dersma and Durham, the double Ds.
Not Martin.
No, I reckon Martin will probably come inside, play on the ball.
Interesting.
Don't
know if I'm happy with that.
You may not be, but I think, I'd like to see Durham stay in the side, personally.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, nothing against him.
The DUs, Durham and Dersma and whatever you want to
put
on each wing. That's got a nice sort of phonetic synergy to it.
Sure.
If nothing else.
I'll buy that.
So now
it's as good a reason as any. Secondary.
Yeah,
on the secondary line, we've got Durham
himself
and Shield.
So Shield's an interesting one. I've seen some stories now that he was never on the table for a trade and that Essendon was never going to let him go. I think they were.
Really? Or did they leak it out?
I think they were. But look, this is his last year. His contract expires at the end of next year. He's 31 at the beginning of the season.
Right.
We've never seen the best of him, sadly, and he's had a lot of injuries this year. He's just had another surgery on his foot. He had a knee surgery only a few weeks ago.
Right.
I don't know really whether there's going to be a place for him in terms of being a consistent starter in the middle I just can't see it. And I think look, let's see. He could just have a fantastic season next year and surprise us all, but I somehow don't think it will happen.
Well, I only go back to Heppel. Remember that bad foot problem?
Yeah.
But boy, this year it didn't seem to be an issue.
True. Yeah.
So who knows? The doctors might get him right. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, I mean,
if he's fully fit, he'd be handy.
Yeah. Well, the word is he's determined to prove some of the naysayers wrong.
Right.
So,
okay. All right. So the depth player then, in that instance, 4 outside mids is Owen Davey Jr.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I mean, Owen Davey, a lot of people have him kind of pigeonholed as a small forward.
Yeah.
But the reality is he's actually more of a midfielder. And, his first year wasn't so spectacular. There were moments and glimpses. But I think, if he gets a bit of size on him, a bit more fitness, he'll be doing his second pre-season.
I don't know about that. He seemed to get knocked off the ball.
Yeah, he's not a big guy. But
way too easily.
Look, give him
just
a chance.
Cast aside, mate, he was, I'm just saying.
You want to cast him aside?
No. I'm saying he was.
Yeah.
So that's why I think people look at him like as a small
Well,
forward.
he is.
Because,
Yeah, but we can't have 20 small forwards. So he's going to have to find a role
love
for
to.
himself. Yeah, well, that would be nice, wouldn't it? And we'll come to that.
Right.
So anyway, for now at least, we've got him there. He might turn up in other positions.
Okay.
Rucks. Let's talk about that.
Okay, so primary, Draper.
Sure.
We're saying Draper.
Yeah, he is. If fit.
Yes.
If fit, Draper is our number one
That's the big
ruck.
if, right? That's
Sure.
the big if because, there's some question marks. Secondary, though, okay, this is interesting. Secondary, we've got Goldstein down.
Yeah, that makes sense too.
And then the depth ruckmans, we've got Bryan and Wiedemann.
Right.
Didn't want to throw in 2 metre Peter,
there's always a chance that, in a game situation, he for example, if the ball's in the forward line, he might take the ruck.
Okay. Because Goldstein, when he came on board, he said he was here to support the depth.
Well,
Bryan
my
and
suspicion is that the best 23, if that's what it is, going into round 1 next season, will see Goldstein playing. It's more of a question as whether Sam Draper will be playing because he's got the osteitis pubis, and we know what that does to Essendon players. So, But Nick Bryan, I'm not saying that he's depth because of anything else, that there's just 2 better ruckmen in front of him at the moment. But I still think Nick Bryan's going to be a really handy player for us going forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So that covers the rucks.
We come to the forward line.
Yes.
I reckon we're going to have a few issues in the forward line. I don't know what you think, but we're not overflowing with great forwards.
Yes, I would agree. And, Collingwood proved that, they don't have to all be absolute superstars. Get yourself a premiership.
They just flicked one of them too. There's Ginnivan. There's popped over to Hawthorn. But you're right. Well, I think they've. But there's a difference in the sense that when Collingwood play and how they play, they give their forwards every opportunity.
Well, this is the issue.
It's the way they move.
It's how they get fed the ball.
Yeah,
that's the issue.
Our play is very static compared to Collingwood.
But that's probably for another day. Okay,
sure.
So
all
primary,
right.
We have Wright.
Yeah, sure.
And Jones.
Jonesy.
Harry
Jones.
On his 1-year contract.
Yeah, well, he's
looking
going to have
prove
to.
something.
He has to, because he's going to have to prove himself if he wants to get a new contract at Essendon or he wants to go to another club. So this is a make or break year for Harry Jones. Now, I know he's had a lot of injury issues, and maybe he's just one of those players that will always be injured.
Yeah.
But if he gets himself fit, I still think, he's a bloody good player. And I think Harry Jones, Peter Wright combo is absolutely a forward line that we could work with. But there's not much behind that. So if any one of those 2 guys go down, who have we got as secondary options?
We have Wiedemann and Voss.
Wiedemann's popping up in a few positions. None of them good.
He's so versatile.
He really is.
And Voss, who just couldn't get the coach's attention.
Like a decathlete.
He couldn't get the coach's attention last year.
Yeah, well, Vossi.
So,
hey, look, Vossi
hope.
might not even make the cut. There still might need to be some chops and cuts and things happening on the list. So who knows? So, but Voss would definitely be a depth option at the moment.
Right. Okay.
So then you're talking about your mid-sized forwards, your half-forward flankers.
Right. I'm excited.
Who would you have in there as a primary?
Well, as a primary, it's got to be Langford.
It has to be.
Killer Langford and
Kyle
Stringer.
Killer. Yeah, so they're actually 2 pretty handy guys to have in your forward line. I mean, Stringer, of course, we know he's inconsistent, but when he's on song, He played that great game against Geelong last year. We lost the game, but I think he kicked 4 goals, 6.
Yeah.
And he was running the ball out of the middle. So he's still a great player, and I hope we can get the best out of him in this coming season.
We are going to need it.
But Langford, I mean, he had a 50-goal year last year. He was rated the 7th highest forward, 7th best forward in the competition.
Mate.
That's pretty high praise, isn't it?
That's outstanding. That really is. He has just improved so much over the last 2 years. So thank God for him.
And I think he's taking on a real leadership role, even though he's not actually in the leadership group.
Yeah, okay.
But he was quite outspoken at the end of the season after our sort of falling off the cliff last 2 games.
Yeah, right.
He spoke quite strongly about how he's done with this mediocrity and he wants to see the club really sort of go to a new level. And I think Kyle Langford...
It would be frustrating. When you're a player that makes the most of your opportunities, you'd be frustrated going, come on.
Isn't he just a living example of someone who's done that?
Yeah.
And if he can do it, then every other player on that list should be looking at Kyle Langford and saying, well, if I could go to the level he's gone to, we'll win a flag.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
In terms of small forwards now,
we've got
the secondary.
We've got the
the mid-sized forward.
They may be mixed up because on the secondary line we've got Guelphy and Perkins. And Guelphy, if he's not, he's a mid, is he?
Look, no, he can be both.
What sort of height are we talking about?
Well,
what's our criteria?
There's no rule of thumb.
All right, okay,
Joe.
Right.
I mean, it's not like a theme park ride. You got to go under. Oh, he's tall enough to be a tall.
Oh, right. Okay. All right.
It's just kind of the role they play.
Mm-hmm. It's very GQ. The secondary line there for the mids.
You mean
forwards.
In terms of the 2 gentlemen that we've named? There?
Yes, that's right. There, Guelphy and Perkins.
And Guelphy.
That's right.
I mean, that is a AFL Men of July calendar.
It is.
Fold out page, that one.
Right. If we may say so ourselves.
Guelph, so we could probably create a new category. So, best dressed at Brownlow night, primary, Guelphy and Perkins. Right. Now, so anyway, that's those 2 guys.
Yes.
Now, this is the one that I think everybody's interested in, is the small forwards.
Yes.
And there's been quite a bit of movement in the off-season in that respect with Jade Gresham coming in.
We really hope it's been bolstered. I think most people, certainly in our comments section, think that it's a good get for us. That he's going to add something.
So we're
to
saying
the side.
Jade will be our primary selection.
I would have thought he goes straight in there, and we've got Menzies.
So Jade and Jai, the 2 J's.
2 J's.
We've got a lot of that synergy going on. We've got the 2 D's on the wings.
Maybe that's all that's been missing.
It has. It's
Maybe
just it's semantics. It's
right.
It's letter games. It's like Scrabble.
We'll hang on to anything. All right.
So sorry, just to cap off on that. So Gresham, Menzies. Now Menzies kicked I think 21 goals or 20 goals last season.
Yeah. He did. I think it was 21.
20 games. So it's almost a goal a game.
Yeah.
As is Gresham. So if you can get those guys doing that. A goal a game between the 2 small forwards. If they can kick, your 40 to 50 goals in a season.
Kyle's good for 50.
And then you got Peter Wright, who was a little patchy coming back from injury. But
just a little.
Let's see how
he goes.
If
you
can
get 50 out of him, there's,
You know where I'm going?
140 goals. Do you know how many goals it takes to end up top 4?
What is the figure for that?
I don't know. But I wish I had it, though. It would have been would have been a good moment.
I just thought, here we go. We are about to launch into the stratosphere of football.
Our credibility was about to just.
We were so close. That was why throw it out there and not answer it?
Because I know what success looks like.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. But we're not there yet.
Knowing what it looks like as opposed to actually having it.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's like the Dons.
Tell me about that.
Okay.
So, in terms of secondary options for our small forwards, who do we think?
Hey, we've got Davey Jr. who's appeared again. Schnelling. Schnelling.
Hair today.
We've got Guelphy.
Probably gone tomorrow.
Well, I don't know about that.
I do.
Don't know. Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I know he's a much loved member of our pantheon of cult heroes.
Yeah, he really is. We're going to make T-shirts around him.
Maybe it'll be a picture of a door closing. I'm not sure.
Are we going to thank him for our service?
Well, he might. Look, I can't see him getting a game. I mean, honestly, that's why he's a secondary option in our depth chart, because with Gresham coming in, I mean, that must be the
when
death
it comes to
knell for
Gresham,
him.
I don't know. Now, I don't. Here's another question that I should know the answer to. But in terms of forward, defensive pressure.
Yep.
Is he known for that?
Look, yes and no. I mean, what he is known as,
So you don't know.
he's a no. I do, because we cannot have two losses in a row on this. No, he's more of a being a midfield forward.
Right.
So he spends a bit of time in the midfield.
Yeah.
So the fact that he kicks a goal a game,
Right.
plus he spends quite a bit of time in the midfield,
Yeah.
says, he could be quite a weapon for us. He had a fantastic couple of years at St Kilda. He's kicking 35 goals a season, and he's had some problems with injuries in recent years.
Right.
I don't think we've seen the best of Jade Gresham,
Okay.
as is the case with Dersma as well. So
Right.
we might have a couple of real gems in those two.
Right.
But
Okay.
as far as Herschnelling goes,
Yes.
I think he's going to really struggle to get into this team, assuming everyone's fit. I really do.
Okay.
Yeah. He's
All right. Jeez.
he might have to consider an alternative career.
Oh.
Yeah.
No. You're supposed to say an alternative club. You're suggesting career. A club. Let's just run with club.
All right.
So you had Guelphy down there as well.
Yeah, look,
'Cause,
he's also, like you
'cause
said,
he
he shrinks
Okay.
when he gets into
All
that
right.
position.
Yes.
Okay, so
the
depth.
depth players.
Depth.
If
Who
it
are the-
all goes to hell,
Yeah.
who have we got coming in?
Who do we-
Wanganeen
Right, Tex, yeah.
and Jay Davey.
Right, so young Jay Davey, we kind of don't really have a read on him yet. He spent the year at the club recovering from some knee injury issues.
Has he started training yet?
Yeah, well, he's been training for a while, but he just wasn't really physically ready to play at a match level, let alone AFL level.
Right.
So, but many have said to me that he is the better of the two Davies, of the two boys.
Right.
So we'll see. But at
Yes.
this stage, he's still like his brother, pretty slight.
Is he the younger brother?
By about 5 seconds, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
okay.
popped out
All right.
quickly.
Did he?
Just behind.
Really?
Okay. He might have been first. I don't know.
All right.
To be
Okay.
honest. So
All right.
Jaden isn't Jaden. I can't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, him.
All right.
So that's it. So I think
So-
I might have left. I don't know. Did we leave
So
anyone off?
in all, give me a depth score. Are we talking?
All right. So where are we strong and where are we not?
Yeah.
I think is the key. Clearly, our tall forward provision is not good.
No.
So I know we're still a work in progress, but we won't be the complete package until we have, a high level elite tall forward. And I'm not sure Peter Wright can be consistently that. I might be wrong. He might prove us all wrong. Certainly had that great year in 22 was it? Yep. Last year.
Yeah.
Harrison Jones is an unknown
Very
entity.
unknown.
So
Question mark
what
still.
happens
Yes.
if we lose those guys? It's back to Sam Wiedemann.
Yeah.
And no offence to Sam, but thank you for your service.
Yeah.
So that's clearly an issue, and I think small defenders. Who's going to be the guy to shut down Tom Papley, who scored the winning goal against us when we played the Swans towards the end of the season?
Yes.
Who's going to be the guy to take on Charlie Cameron? Who's going to be that player? Is it McGrath? And if it is, what happens if McGrath goes out? We don't have a lot of depth.
Who are good examples of those small defender types that shut down? Oh no, sorry, I shouldn't. We should have discussed this before.
There's a lot. I mean,
Yes,
there's probably
right.
too many to go through.
No, there would be.
We
We don't have time for that now. We're losing the satellite.
Yeah. Sorry. We better wrap up.
Yeah.
Now,
okay.
look. I know this has been quite a long and probably somewhat tedious video.
That's what we do. Yeah. We're sticking to brand.
But
people know that.
But if nothing else, please, would someone just say some nice things and tell us you guys aren't quite as stupid as you look.
Right.
And that we were...
What's in their interest to do that?
Because it's good for my ego.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
I just want to know that we can come across with a level of credibility like some of the other Essendon fan channels.
Yeah. All right. But we can play in the game.
I don't want to be the clown all the time. We sometimes...
No.
I think people think of us sometimes, for a bit of light entertainment.
Yeah. You don't
There's
like
some
that,
serious
do you?
football
you don't
stuff.
Like
no,
that.
I don't.
You want to have substance.
No. I want substance. And we're going to give them substance. So I hope that this has
Okay.
been in some way...
pander to his very fragile ego, if you could, please, in the comments section. If you think we've talked a lot of shit,
but
please.
To help that, let's just throw it out there. If you have a view on where we're strong and where we're not, please make the comments. I'd like to see a lot of discussion.
As a what? As a channel?
No, not us.
The
football
Dons,
team.
yes.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
okay.
we've given you our list in terms of what we think
Are
the
we going to
strengths and
do one
weaknesses
on depth of coaching panel?
I wouldn't know who they were. What, like Gian Syracusa? And,
Yeah. Yeah, because
Blake Caracella.
You look at the teams that have won premierships over the last 4 or 5 years, and even the support team has been very strong. You look like someone like a Justin Lepich was there, helping out Damien Hardwick, 3 premierships, thanks. Then heads over to Collingwood.
He's the man.
More success, So it's not just the man at the top. You need the good support crew as well. Is what I'm saying.
You do. I mean, I don't know enough about him, to be honest. I mean, maybe that's something we can touch on. But I think Brad Scott seems quite happy with the coaching panel. There's been no talk of them moving on. I think Gian Siracusa was sort of floated as a potential senior coach, but hasn't gone to that level yet. Right. But anyway, we shall see.
Okay.
So I think that's been a pretty long but video. Is anybody awake?
If you're still awake, just write awake. Okay. All right. Shall we leave it at that?
I think we should.
When's our next one going to be? I don't know.
Straight after this. We're going to go through the AFLW.
You won't get rid of us that easy. Yes.
We'll do the women's depth chart.
Yes, we should do that.
Jeez, that'll be fun. All right. Great. Thanks, guys. And as always, appreciate your support.
Very much.
Keep the comments coming because it gives us something to do during the week.
And entertains us.
And it sure does entertain.
Thank you very much.
Bye
Over and out. Bye.
See ya.